Hello. Jesus, I hate the size of insects in Florida. I am over at my parents' house, as you can see, and when I got up to the front door, like I brought over some stuff today. I brought over like just the cardboard boxes that I had in my car and some other things. And I got up to the front door and I was like, "What?" I saw something out of the corner of my eye. I was like, "What was that?" And it was kind of flying towards me, and I was like, "Is it a moth?" It was flying really slow, and I'm not gonna freak out over a moth or. Then I was like, "No, it's not a moth. It's flying kind of weird." And all of a sudden, it's almost going into the house, and I shut the door real quick, and I turn around, and it lands on the wall, and it's like a 2-inch long cockroach, and it almost dive bombed my face. And that was a really, I don't know, that would have been gross if it had landed in my face. But yeah, so that's how I started out over here, was almost getting murdered by a giant cockroach, and ever since then I've been like if I hear a little like the fan blowing something or whatever, like I was laying on the bed and this little piece of paper flew by and hit me in the arm, and I jumped and actually went out loud. So that was kind of funny. I kind of wish I had that on video record. It's always, everyone always goes on tape, and then they always have to go, "Oh, it's not tape, it's on whatever, on the iPod." So I'm over here, really giving a good go of pulling out more stuff from this closet, which you can tell there's actually some room going on there. I can actually technically step in the closet. Look, I'm in the closet. I'm a Halloween prop, but and, I mean, mainly I got out the big electrocute zombie and just a bunch more of the pumpkins and rope and fog juice and statues and my big rubber kitty cat. I actually got this at iParty when they still really carried a decent amount of props. Like the last few years I've ever been to iParty, they just really didn't have anything. But the I got that was probably about 6 years ago now, 6 or 7 years ago. Just a big rubber foam-filled cat. Very weird. And I still use it. It's still just gross and creepy, and I normally take about one photo a year of it, right up in its face. Also, I pulled these out, and for 2 seconds I couldn't remember what I used these for. Just little bent aluminum piece. I'm like, why did I have these? But I remember these I use in the yard to stake down my extension cords, the electrical cables, because last year mainly I had to run lines across where people were going to be walking. It just was the most feasible pathway. Either that or I was going to have to run an extension cable like an extra 50 feet around this whole area. So I got these little pieces and basically, just lay the cord down and you stake about every 6 inches, 8 inches or so, and it helps bury the cord in the ground. So, I mean, I know there's been a couple of people's vlogs have been talking about extension cords, and I think DJ Marco had asked everyone, what types of, cords and powering do you use? And so if you ever lay cords in the yard, even if it's not somewhere where like the trick-or-treaters or the general public are going to be walking, it's not a bad idea to just stake them down even for your safety, so you don't go tripping over them, or they, all it takes is you trip over it. You're not going to fall or anything. You're just going to rip the hell out of your light and pull it off of wherever it's clamped onto or whatever. So, what else? Really haven't pulled out. I mean, basically, I'm just trying to sort out the props I'm using this year from not. I think that corner is going to be sort of the props I'm not using this year corner, so it'll be out of the way. But like I said, I remembered a couple other ones that I'm probably not going to use this year. But as I'm going through, I'm thinking of a few new places that, like out in the graveyard, that they would actually work in instead of being in the windows of the house. Today I worked at Spirit again. I'm going to be off for an entire week there just because of too much work at GameStop and going to Atlanta for my birthday. Today I put up all the makeup, all the last year's makeup that we had. I took like 7 hours and got all that up. And we got these cool They're in-store display pieces, which you can check out. They're actually available for purchase on the Spirit website, but they're called lampposts, but they sort of look like hangman gallows, and they just have little like LED. I'll just show you the little lamps, like old metal lamps, like that one right there. They have those hanging from them, and there's 4 of them, and I want them. I think I'm going to try to buy them towards the end of this season. Hopefully maybe get them, just a couple days before Halloween so I can use them this year. But they're made out of just really, really thick cardboard that has like a glossy coating over top of it, so it could technically get a little bit wet and not, totally soak up. But they're just cool. They're pretty well detailed. And they're about, I don't know, I'm trying to think of, about 8 feet tall, 8.5 feet tall. And I probably wouldn't use them with the lamps on it. I'd probably try to hang, like, some skeletons, sort of like what I'm doing with the rebar. And maybe just, some have barbed wire with bones and stuff wrapped around them or something. I think it would be a really cool presentation piece right out front of the haunt. So when you're walking up the street, you got these 4 that are like the first, thing that you'll mainly see there, having those guys, or having something hang from them. What else? I always write down a little list of what I want to talk about. Otherwise, I'll film the whole thing and be pissed afterwards. I'm like, oh, I forgot that one main thing I want to talk about. Oh yeah, I noticed on Pumpkin Rot's website that he pointed out a prop that he originally had done that someone else had taken a reference of and made a prop of their own. And they gave him credit, that they got that idea from him. But then in the new Grandin Road catalog, there's a very, very similar prop to both of those, mainly to the one that the second guy created. And kind of started this whole, talk that always gets brought up a few times a year on the forums or anywhere of people kind of stealing or borrowing and not really giving credit to ideas or props that someone else makes. And it's most frustrating. Not it's another yard haunter does it, or home haunter. It's not that big of a deal because it's a compliment. And you're just sort of like, I wish they would have given me at least a little bit of credit for my ideas. But it's always a big bummer when you see it being sold in a store or a magazine, and of course that store, whoever's the product, or prop designer for that company is not going to give credit. But I thought that would be a kind of a cool thing, is that if it's a really obvious, like this was really obvious, it was a cloaked ghost, like a faceless ghost that had chains wrapped around its hands and was holding a little lantern, and it's made to look like it's floating off the ground with no feasible, hanging cord or anything like that, and it's really staked to the ground. So I mean, it was about as much of a rip-off as it possibly could have been, that Grandin Road did. It's sort of like whoever eventually saw that photo or got that idea from that, the original guy that built it. It'd have been nice if, at least somewhere, if they could even send an email saying, hey, I was inspired by this piece. We want to make it and sell it or whatever. There's really no legal rights to it. I mean, if the guy doesn't have the prop or the idea copyrighted, there's nothing he could do. But it'd at least be nice to say, hey, we liked your stuff. We're gonna make a prop and sell it. What is everyone else's thoughts of that? Intellectual properties. Do you feel that should you rip other people off? I mean, obviously, I don't think anyone's going to say, yeah, rip people off, but I mean, do you think it's something that you definitely should give a shout out to? Should you be able to sell an idea that you saw somewhere else without really even discussing it or giving a shout out to the original people? I don't tend to make many brand new unique things. I mean, I do have some items and some props that I've made that I had never seen anywhere else. I just came up with myself. I've yet to see anyone really steal any of my ideas. That'd be really kind of cool because it's always a compliment. But anyway, let me know. Peace out. I will talk to you guys later.